Okay, real GP. This is just the text question, but that's okay. We can do. Question for JCav and AJ. JCav mentioned in his first podcast with AJ that AJ can speak an idea very concisely without using any extra words. Oh, thank you, real GP. What practices do you both use to become more brief and concise in your speaking?
Oh, wow. That's a really good question.
That's a great question. Real GP is the ultimate question asker, by the way.
Wow. Yeah. And imagine if he got real GP. Imagine if you got really good at asking that level of question to yourself.
Yeah.
Swinging it back to what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
If he sat,
he's getting good at real GP's leveling up big time.
Yeah. Yep. And if he asked that level of question to himself and he sits there and ponders them, not with that stress energy, but with like the curiosity and the excitement of what he might come up with. That guy, I'm telling you, I like this guy. Yeah. I'd love to see where he's at in a year.
You guys got to meet. Yeah. He's great. He's great. True OG Moto Academy member. Yeah, I love he's the man.
Great question. So yeah, how do you get concise? I mean, this is probably the most boring answer, but I constantly am reevaluating and re-listening to the messages I send clients. And I'm also looking at what I write and I'm asking myself, how can I get to the point faster? Because what I realized, and I don't know how you're doing your book, I started doing a book and it was going the wrong direction. I wanted to solve everyone's problem on earth when it comes to the mental game of any sport. And so what happened is it became this big thing in this book that I was writing for years. And I have all this content, and it's never good enough because I've never solved everyone's problem. Then recently I bumped into a guy, Daniel Priestley, who I love. And he said, here's how you write a book. He's like, this is the format for a book. He goes, trust me. And I listen to it. I'm like, I literally listened to this thing like 5 times. And my next book is going to be based on that format. And he said, you should be able to consume it in one sitting. How does that tie back to this question? So what I realized
Those are my favorite types of books.
Yeah. And I actually have a book. I should have brought it for you. I'm going to get you this book. It's the best little book. And you could get it from Moto Academy members if you want, super cheap, but for maybe a limited number of guys. But it's a book. It's not even 40 pages. It's amazing. There's another book I read, and what I found is 10,000 words is 40 pages. Right now, I'm writing a book, and my goal is to be as close to 10,000 words as possible, meaning 40 pages. You'd be like, that's not a real book. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bringing it to this question, what's a real book? A real book is a real solution to a real problem, in my opinion. So I keep on looking at this book, and I say, am I exciting people to solve one problem, which it's all about calming your nerves and anxiety in sport. It's called the CALM method. It's a method I've developed over the last 7-8 years. Each of the letters has meaning. You know, the C means on A, the L, and the M. And what I realize is that you don't have to, for a book to keep your attention, each sentence needs to have something of value.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so what I do to get more concise is I just keep reading, learning, and like listening to myself and reevaluate, how could I have said this better? I go back to questions. How could I have said this better? How could I have said this more concise? Did I get my message across? You know, should I have told a story? Is this something where I should tell a story, or should I just make a statement? Or should I ask someone a question?
How do you do that in real time in, let's say, a podcast or an interview or a conversation? Because that is a good strategy to simplify, essentially. And my favorite books are simplified. I'm having everybody in the mastermind next month read the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success with Deepak Chopra, don't know how to say it. Very short book. I don't know if it's behind me or not. As a Man Thinketh, James Allen. I don't think it is behind me. Very, very short. A lot of my favorite books, very short. The reason I struggle sometimes to read, like Jordan Peterson would, for example, would be like, there's so much in here. And I question as I read it, is this all necessary? Like, is each sentence here that valuable, or are you just expanding on stuff that it doesn't necessarily need to be expanded on? And like, so therefore it just loses. With Jordan Peterson, I question that because he is so high, ridiculously high level. I'm like, maybe it's going over my head, all of these sentences, but nonetheless, simplify. So we're not doing a good job in this convo at this very moment. But what are strategies in real time? Because I answered his question in a one-on-one message, a little bit, and I want to hear like your opinion, real time. Do you have anything off the top of your head?
No, the only thing you can do just to get better at anything is just to keep doing it.
Yeah.
As lame of an answer as that sounds, that's all I do. You know, how have I become a better writer? I just write a lot. How do I become a better podcaster? I just podcast a lot. How do I become a better YouTuber? I just YouTube a lot.
Yeah. Yep. But I think what it teaches me with the being in front of a camera, doing interviews often, always talking into a microphone, just answering people's questions at class. Like at class is a good practice because you're surrounded by a lot of people in real time, and you'll get questions sometimes that you've never heard ever, right? A lot of times not, but sometimes you get asked that question that you've never heard before. And so in real time, I have to come up with a good answer. Not that I have to like die in the sword of that point, but I have to at least answer with something that is practical and simplified. And my strategy for that is, first of all, when they're asking, I'm really hyper present. I'm like listening to what they're saying and being there with them in the question, instead of freaking myself out about how I'm going to answer. I think a lot of people get caught up on thinking about what they're going to say next so much they don't actually listen to the person.
Oh, that's huge.
Right?
That's huge.
Huge. So, and I think that comes with lack of like just being still. You know, just slow down, take a deep breath, listen to what they're saying. Don't think any further than that. Just listen to each word and do your best to assimilate the information as you're hearing it. And what is nice is if you can do that in a really calm way, the answer actually kind of comes to you, because you put yourself in a state that like you can actually connect to the subconscious and get the answer without having to consciously force one into existence. If you guys enjoyed this podcast clip and you want to listen to full episodes, make sure you go download them on Spotify and Apple Music. If you want to watch full episodes or be a person that sends in your own video submission, go to club.themotoacademy.com and subscribe to join the Moto Academy family today.